Coastman dreamed of screaming like Chester, but after trial, error, and lots of research, he felt lost, like tutorials were oversimplified and he needed help. After we worked on his screams, this is the cover he made.
Tell me what the fuck is wrong with me?
How did he make his dreams a reality? In this video, I'm going to show you 3 different types of screaming distortion. I'll do that by showing you how to cover the different parts of Given Up. And yes, we'll cover the long scream. Along the way, I'll show you how to use this for your own music and covers. Okay, let's dive into the first section, singing with grit during the verses.
Waking a sweat again, another day's been laid to waste. In my disgrace, stuck in my head again, feels like I'll never leave this place. There's no escape, I'm my own worst enemy.
In this song, this is the first part where he adds a little bit of grit and it gives us a little hint of the fire to come. He uses the first type of distortion we're going to talk about. And he doesn't do it in a super high register or anything, he does it in his talking register, also known as your chest voice, which is what I'm talking in right now. The interesting part is that most of the people I teach report that the vibrations for this, when you do the distortion, sit around here. Most people say they gotta push 9 out of 10 from their stomach. And I'd say to get this, first hold your breath really tightly and say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh, yeah, yeah, yeah. If you feel a low, gurgly, smooth, wet sound, you're hitting it. Once you get that, you need to sing through it to add pitch to it. And I call this a lower place chest fry distortion. And for this part in particular, you can kind of compress whenever you want distortion and uncompress when you want more of a clean tone.
Can I sweat again? Another day's been laid to waste. In my disgrace.
Now remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach that works for everybody. If you can't do the above, it doesn't mean that you can't do this stuff. It just means that we need to try different approaches until we find one that works for you. And if you want some different approaches of nailing this or any of the other screams in this video, I left a free training in the link in the description. Be sure to check it out, but back to the video. Okay, let's slide into the second part, doing the belting chorus with grit.
I've given up.
For a lot of people, this might be the hardest part of the song to do because this involves a bit of singing knowledge. If you're a beginner to doing vocals, I'd say pay attention and absorb this information, but don't worry about executing this right away. The part after this section is where the heavy screaming comes in, and believe it or not, that's more simple than this. Okay, so let me explain how to do this. So first off, you want to think of your singing range like paints, where you have the color black, which is great for darker colors, just like you have the color white for lighter colors. But let's say you want to paint something gray. Using pure whites would be too light, and pure blacks would be too dark. In these scenarios, you can blend those paints together to become gray. In singing, we have our talking/yelling range called chest voice, and we have our baby voice called head voice. But sometimes the head voice is great for hitting high notes, but it's too thin of a sound. And the chest voice is great for having a full tone, but it's too low to get really high. So here's where the magic is. You can blend the two to create musical notes that are higher than chest voice, but fuller than head voice. And this register is called mixed voice. So instead of ah or ah, you'll get a ah. I will always love you. So back to the chorus. So to hit that high note, the first thing you gotta do is to hit it in your clean voice. And depending on your vocal range, that either might be your chest voice, your head voice, or your mixed voice. For me, chest voice is a little too low for me, and head voice is a little too thin for me. So I need to use my mixed voice to comfortably hit it in a way that sounds good and full. And you might need to use mixed voice or head voice or some combination of the two as you're singing the chorus. We'll talk more about how to use head voice for iGrit in the next section, so for right now, let's focus on building that distortion in your mixed voice. First, how do we get into mixed voice, and then after that, add grit to it? A good exercise for developing your mixed voice is nasally going, ah, 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 and feeling it in my nose. Heads up, it might feel a little weird and scary being in there, but that's super normal. If it doesn't feel like pure chest voice, or pure head voice, then that's how you know that you're on the right track. So after you get that, see if you can sort of expand that into an ava. From there, I raise the back of my tongue to encourage my vocal cords to close. This will help give a little bit of grit to it. And this is different than the first distortion I taught you because it's much higher placed.
Hey, this is the first distortion.
Once again, although everyone can do this, everyone's relationship to their voice is different. So if this approach doesn't work for you, there are a bunch of other ways to do this. Not to mention, this is actually the most advanced thing to do on this list. Next, let's do the heavy part, the scream in the beginning of the breakdown. Once I learned this scream, this is when I felt the most badass. And honestly, this is what most of my students want to learn. Okay, so I like to hit this first scream in my baby voice, aka my head voice.
Here's an example of me using my baby voice, aka my head voice.
To hit this, you want to do what's called a fry scream. Now, Chester's vocal range is a little different than mine and maybe yours, so I personally have to hit these notes in head voice. And when it comes to covering songs, sometimes you kind of have to make slight adjustments like this according to your range. So like everything else, there's a lot of different ways to do this, but one method that works pretty well for a lot of people is to first hold your breath and in your head voice, make a baby crying noise. If you feel like you're in your head voice while you're getting a nice, smooth, gurgly distortion, you're starting to do it right. From there, you want to sing through the scream in order to add different pitches to it. A lot of people, not everybody, report feeling the vibrations for this head fry scream up around here or here. Next, let's jump into doing the jaw-dropping long scream. Fly me out of my fucking misery! Whenever I scream this song in karaoke, this is the part that makes people's jaws drop. Most people think that Chester has an insane lung capacity, but the secret, this is actually really easy once you know how to do it right. And if you don't believe me, in one lesson I was able to take a student from not being able to scream at all to holding it out for the entire duration of the part. So yeah, are you surprised with how long you can kind of hold it for?
Yeah, I'm extremely surprised. I was like, while I was doing it, I'm like, what is going on right now?
So to break things down, let me ask you a question. Can you hold your breath for the length of Chester's scream? Let's give it a shot. Huh. So that's pretty much what you're doing when pulling off this scream.
So what are the steps to pulling this off? Well, if you can find the head or mixed voice fry we spoke about earlier on in this video, you'll find that you can naturally hold it out for this long.
Let me explain. Fry screams happen when you close your vocal cords together to make them sputter like this. In the process, you're making it so that you prevent air loss. So when you pull off a fry scream, you'll naturally be able to hold it for a long time. I can hold mine for almost a minute. As a reminder, if you need more of an in-depth explanation of fry screaming, check out the free training in the description. Chester is someone who left a legacy of saving people's lives. He had an iconic voice that showed his authentic heart. But I want to remind you, you can affect the world with your music. Coastman was a great student. He learned the ropes and then went on to perform on TV, and then make his own amazing original music in a band called Carousel. It's awesome to scream like someone else, but I want to see a world where everyone is finding their own style. Because here's the thing, there's never going to be another Chester, but there's also never going to be another you. So I want you to take elements of what you've learned and apply it in your own way. Tell your story that no one else in the world can. Now you know how to do a little bit of the different types of grit and screams that Chester uses. Watch this video to learn how to say words with it, improve your consistency, and perfect your screams in 30 days.